Well, Berman's right. I didn't want to be here, and I don't want to be here. I headed down. I'm processing all this in real time. I headed down 2 days ago after hearing around Monterey Park, and my first instinct was to get to my desk and open up a file. And literally out dropped the file was a bunch of these yellow cards from my talking points in San Jose, the ones at the Gilroy Garlic Festival, and then the ones literally almost 4 years ago to the week, related to the Thousand Oaks shooting where 13 people were gunned down at the Borderline Bar and Grill. Literally, these are the notes, one of them. I went down to Monterey Park and was invited to 3 press conferences like this, and I said, nope, nope, nope. I watched them on my cell phone instead as I walked around the community. And I'll tell you what, I did that selfishly because I didn't have the guts to come up and say the same things we hear again and again and again. That was covered. Sheriff Luna did a magnificent job. Local electeds did a magnificent job. We made sure of that as well. But I walked and listened, knocked on doors, walked into businesses that were still open and just listened to people. Remember someone rolling up, young woman, 3 young girls in the back, and she, can I talk to you? She starts tearing up. And she introduced me to her 10-year-old daughter, 8-year-old daughter, and 3-year-old daughter, and said, can you do me a favor? And can you tell them it's going to be okay? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, they're supposed to be in school, but my 8-year-old said, no way. I said, how's her 10-year-old? She goes, doing remarkably. 3-year-old, she was just rolling around in the back. And the 8-year-old was so fearful because she heard the gunshots. And she knew. She actually knew they weren't firecrackers. In and of itself is remarkable. And she didn't sleep the night before. And I looked over at her and I said, it's going to get better. And all I thought to myself, if she was like my 8-year-old daughter, thank God she didn't do this. She didn't ask me to pinky promise. Because I wasn't so sure. Walked back the next morning, met with more merchants, visited the hospitals, met a young man on life support. Next morning I find out he passed away. I met someone in the hospital, and he said, hey, Governor, thanks for being here, but when am I getting the hell out of here? And I said, well, let's get the doctor. He says, no, I'm going to be fine. His leg was shattered by the gunfire. He goes, I can't afford to spend any more time here. I don't have the money. His mom arrived, Cantonese speaking, his only son arrived, and they came over to me worried he's going to lose his job in the warehouse the next day unless he can go back to work. Joaquin talks about inequality and things being exposed. That's exactly what we experienced here today. Farm workers of all stripes, Latino descent, Asian descent, Asian gunmen. 39 now of these mass shootings, and we're only at day 24 of the new year. I was looking back at these same notes, and it starts, it's right here, right up on the right corner. It says Aurora. It goes down to Midland, Orlando, Buffalo, Poway, Parkland, San Jose, Sutherland, Sandy Hook, Boulder. And I started writing in Monterey Park. And now I got to write in Half Moon Bay. What the hell is going on? But it was said, and it's said all the time, only in America. Only in America. Number 1 in gun ownership, number 1 in gun deaths. It's not even complicated. And guess what? This happened on our watch. Society becomes how we behave. We've allowed this to happen. It doesn't have to be this way. It wasn't always this way. A few decades ago, we didn't experience these kind of things. We've allowed this to happen. And I feared 2 days ago that Monterey Park would give way to other headlines. Little did I know I'd be up here to give away 2 or 3 days from now to whatever the headlines will bring. Meanwhile, the trauma and the damage, the devastation is felt for generations in some cases. Communities being torn asunder, no one feeling safe. All those farm workers, like, can I get a job someplace else? I can't go back. And by the way, some of you should see where these folks are living, the conditions they're in. Living in shipping containers, living in shipping containers. Folks getting $9 an hour. You want to verify the California minimum wage? Not $9 an hour. No health care, no support, no services. But taking care of our health, providing a service to each and every one of us every single day. So this whole thing is just a stacking of issues that come to the fore. But the one common denominator are these damn guns. I got no ideological opposition to someone owning a gun responsibly. But what the hell is wrong with us that we allow these weapons of war and large capacity clips out on the streets and sidewalks? Why have we allowed this culture, this pattern to continue? What happens in every one of these cases, I watch those same evening newscasts you do. Well, we couldn't solve for this with this particular law. We can solve for a pattern. We get so consumed by an incident that we lose sight of the pattern. I'm proud of California. Don't think for a second this state has stepped aside. We've taken responsibility. We believe it's decisions, not conditions, that determine our fate and future. We've led the nation. We've led the national conversation in gun safety. No state in America has done more than the state of California. And the data bears out the efficacy, the success of gun safety. Gun safety saves lives, but notably, not in every case. No one's naive. So don't point to that as proof of its failure. Quite the contrary. Gun safety saves lives. The modern gun safety movement started with a guy named Ronald Reagan. Republican Party should look that guy up. 1967. Great leadership here in 1989 with the assault weapons ban, led by Senator Feinstein a few years later after another tragedy in 101 California in the 1994 assault weapons ban. That worked. That worked until it expired in 2004, and we started to see an increase in mass shootings. We've led the nation on background checks, closing loopholes. We led the nation on red flag warnings. We led the nation on waiting periods. We led the nation across a series of gun safety measures, and the data bears it out. We've seen a 55% reduction in gun deaths when we initiated those progressive reforms from 1993 to 2017. And you look at our gun death rate, it's 37% below the national average. Gun safety works. We will not back away from that resolve. But we can't do this alone. And with all due respect, we feel like we are. And this is where, and forgive me, what the hell do I have to lose? Well, you just got to call some folks out. I'm still waiting for Kevin McCarthy, the leader of the House of Representatives, who purports to represent the people of the state of California, a proud and remarkable district in Kern County. We haven't heard one damn word from him. Not since Monterey Park, not what happened here, not one word, not one expression of prayers, condolences, nothing. And it should surprise nobody. Where's he been on gun safety reform? Where's the Republican Party been on gun safety reform? They blocked it every step of the way. One state can't do it alone. Shame on them. And shame on those that allow and perpetuate that to be rewarded politically. Shame on them. Shame on these judges that are rolling back the laws that we've established in the state of California. Shame on them. You deserve better. We deserve better. And so I'm here processing, like all of us, the absurdity, the theater, look around, of absurdity, only in America. And I'll close on this. really hit home to me today, meeting immigrants from China. And their translator didn't even know how to translate these words. When the gunfire occurred, they were witnesses. Their friends got shot, killed. They went over, people had been shot, and they thought they were acting. They'd never heard a sound like that. They'd never seen a scene like that. They didn't even know how to comprehend a gunshot wound. It's not something they ever experienced. They don't even know how to comprehend that. Only in America do we see this kind of carnage, this kind of chaos, this kind of destruction of communities and lives and confidence, and a sense of safety and belonging, which we all yearn for, regardless of our political stripes or our lot in life. So thank you to the first responders, the rock stars behind us, the paramedics that were on the scene. We pray for this one individual, and it was because not just of prayers, but a couple of young men behind me, that if he survives, he will have survived because of their extraordinary work. Thank you to that young man, that 26-year-old Brandon and I met yesterday. This remarkable kid whose aunt told me, I can't believe it was Brandon. We all know Brandon. He was so shy. He's such an empath. I remember him, he said, aunt, when he was a kid, and he would just immediately give all his toys to the rest of the family. He was just that kid. And when we learned it was Brandon, we were so proud. Selfless. Brandon looked at me. He said, I knew I was going to die. I heard a click. I turned around. I think he was about to shoot me. I didn't know. I literally physically was submitting to that moment. And then something came over to me. And I grabbed that weapon. And I wrestled it away. He's still in shock. He doesn't even understand. We talk about heroes. Sometimes we talk about it a little too much. Kind of loses its resonance. Boy, I met one yesterday. And you know what? If Brandon can do it, we all have that capacity. And so it's in that spirit, Joaquin's spirit, the other electeds that said it. Thank you to the community for not giving up, not giving into this cynicism. Thank you for believing in each other. Thanks for showing up today. You wouldn't be here if you've given up. Thank you for your resolve. Thank you for knowing in your core, we can figure this out, because we can. We know what to do. It's not even complicated. We do. And we don't have to do this again and again and again. To my state, final words. We were here just a few days ago with Congresswoman and the President. 22 days, 32 trillion gallons of water. Mother Nature's fury unleashed. This community, communities across this state. It's been a hard month and a half. I'm mindful of that. After 2 years of all that stacking of stress with COVID and feeling isolated and disconnected, I'm so proud of California. I'm so proud of all of you. I mean it. So when Anna Eshoo says this is the greatest state in the union, man, she means that. And I feel that. I couldn't be more prideful to represent you and to have 4 extraordinary kids that want to grow up feeling safe, feeling embraced, feeling protected, feeling connected, and feeling respected. Thank you all for being out here today, and thank you to remarkable leaders behind us, including the sheriff and her team have done a magnificent job. We're all here to take any questions.
Okay, Gavin Newsom there, California governor, quite exasperated by all these recent events, these mass shootings that have wrought havoc on his state, also getting political, going after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy there as well in these comments. I'm Andrew Kraft. Let's get an update, though, from our reporters standing by on the ground in Half Moon Bay with the latest. Fox News multimedia reporter Giovanni Ligi, who was listening in to that press conference, California Governor Gavin Newsom. Giovanni sounding quite exasperated that his state has yet suffered another 2 back-to-back mass shootings. What more do we know, though, about the story, the suspect that is now in custody, and these victims?
Yeah, Andrew. So at this point, we know that this was a targeted attack. He worked at one of those businesses. He went to 2 different locations yesterday afternoon, shot 4 people at one, shot another 4 people at another. Total of 8 victims, 5 men, 2 women, plus 1 person who was still in critical condition. He then drove here to this parking lot right next door to a sheriff's substation where he was arrested. And Andrew, once again, you talk about Governor Gavin Newsom's voice. We heard him. He was just in Monterey Park, just outside of Los Angeles a few days ago for another mass shooting. Now he's up here in Half Moon Bay. When you look at last night, there was a mass shooting in Oakland. There's 3 shootings within 5 days of one another. This is, you can hear the heartbreak in his voice, and you can also hear the heartbreak in the voice of the people out here in some of these areas. People are afraid. People are wondering when and where the next shooting is going to take place. So obviously he was critical of the lawmakers, as you mentioned, but when you look at the investigation and what's happening, you know, this is a targeted attack. When you look at what happened in Monterey Park, that was also, once again, police are still looking into it, but it was a targeted attack as well. Last night in Oakland, we're still learning more details about that, but that's 3 shootings in a row with significant loss to life. I mean, these are more than a dozen families who are now mourning the losses, planning funerals. You can tell, once again, you heard the heartbreak in his voice, and he said that we are all just processing, and that's what this community is doing. This is a quiet coastal town just about an hour and a half south of San Francisco. And this is where people come to vacation. This is known for festivals and the pumpkin drop. It's not known for a mass murder like this.
Right.
So
Giovanni,
it's just a long way to go and a lot of processing.
Yes, definitely the state going through so much right now. Giovanni Ligi, we appreciate your time, your reporting. We'll talk again. Thanks so much.
Thanks.